Well, hello, everybody. John Hunt here from MarketingPlanGuide.com, welcoming you today for our next edition of Marketing Plan Q&A. We do this every Monday at 3 o'clock Central Time, and we go for a half an hour. I get as many questions as I can in that half an hour live here. Purpose of this session today and of every Monday we do this is to allow you to ask any question related to creating your marketing plan. And you don't have to be on the call live. We will take your questions in advance and pre-submitted, and we will do questions live, time permitting. And I've got a lot of questions, a lot of people lined up for today. Okay, our next question here is, what section of the marketing plan is most difficult to do well or the most difficult to answer? And you know what? That's I'm going to put up the marketing plan outline that I teach. This is right from the Do-It-Yourself Marketing Handbook. And, you know, you can come up with all kinds of different outlines or forms, but this is the format that I use. So there's 6 different sections, and I think each section has its challenge. You know, in the situation analysis, I always say this is the most boring part of the deal to do. So just keeping your head in the game and having the time and patience to complete this section is, you know, really the biggest challenge there, because, you know, here we look at your market as a whole and how you fit within your market. We look at the past efforts you've done and kind of determine, you know, where you fit within the marketplace. And we come up with something we call your unique selling proposition. Very important to come up with, but if you don't spend adequate time on it, that can be very challenging, and it's hard to do that well. Well, you know, we can say the same about target audience. If you don't spend the kind of time to correctly identify your target audience, the rest of your plan could just, you know, fall apart because you're going to be chasing the wrong people. So in the target audience section of the plan, you want to really make sure that you are going after the right people. We put you through exercises of how you identify, you know, the ideal customer and profiling them. So if you don't spend the time in that area, that can be very difficult to do. Goals, another part of the marketing plan, which is very challenging. People like to rush by this one, but if you don't have any goals in place, then you don't have any benchmarks to compare against, especially when you look at the plan a year later and say, okay, you know, how well did I do? Well, if you had no goals, how do you know how well you did? So I think it's very important on that deal to make sure you spend the time on that. Now, strategies, this is the thing that people usually jump into the plan at this part, and you might say, well, this is the easiest part of the plan. I know what tools to use because I know my audience and I know, you know, where they hang out. Well, if you don't spend proper time researching your media strategies, then I think it becomes difficult to, you know, correctly pick the right media tool that you're going to use. In tactics, which is the 5th section of the marketing plan, the biggest challenge here is just, first of all, organizing it into a week-by-week plan and then following it, you know, sticking to your plan. You know, this is where the dreamers, the people that think big but aren't very good on tactical or day-to-day stuff, fall apart because they're not following their plan. And then on the budget section of the plan, you know, what does everything add up? Does the budget add up? But more importantly, I think, is if you're not tracking all your efforts and you don't have evaluation points in your plan, it's going to be difficult for you to determine whether or not this whole plan is working or not. So the answer to your question is every plan has its difficult parts. The biggest flaw I see, especially when people buy my book, they rush out, you know, they spend a couple hours, they want to get that plan done in a couple hours, and you know, you can do some stuff like that, but you really got to spend the time to work through the different exercises and try to develop all the sections of the marketing plan, because if you don't, something is going to fall apart, and that's going to be your biggest challenge. Until next Monday, John Hunt here from MarketingPlanGuide.com saying so long and have a great day.